Hello and welcome to another episode of From Dungeons to Starships. First, I would like to take a brief second to say thank you for all the positive feedback that has been received on the back of our new direction with the content for the channel that we put up on the last episode. It's much appreciated to know that the new content will be something people want to see and can get a bit more involved with. Remember again, this channel welcomes your input. And if you want to make suggestions as to the direction of the channel and can suggest the types of builds and kitbashes you want to see us do for content, then please feel free to leave the ideas in the comment section below or through one of our social media accounts. In this video, we're going to expand on the idea we had in the last video. That is to kitbash and be able to put together a bespoke Empire army project that I've wanted to do for about the past 20 odd years. But a bit more of that in a bit. With games like Warhammer, the Old World, we are still, although it's a reclaimed title, we are still in the game's infancy, which is funny for a returning title, but new players maybe are collecting the age, many new players may be collecting for the age-old what is the best army, and older gamers like myself collecting for armies they remember playing back in the day. With no complaint, however, the organised play events have been to cater to the more competitive event, and there has been little to entice the narrative gamer like myself to get out to play at these events. But there now seem to be events which are surfacing, which I can believe can be a little bit more enticing to someone who wants to have an army more concerned with story than with just being smash mouth on the table. So step in the TSN arena in Nottingham, run by Rob. Honest Wargamer Rob, Square Base Rob, Jugs Rob, whichever of these incarnations you know him under. There they have been running constant old world days since the beginning of this edition of basically what is Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and have decided to shake things up a bit, points wise, from the more standard 2,000 points we are seeing in most instances for organised play events. So they're putting on what they're calling the old world foray days, 500 points, and one of these events is the weekend before my birthday, so sounds like an opportunity to me. So what to build? What army are we going to take? Well, back when I played older editions of Warhammer Fantasy, the one army that always stood out with its story was the Dogs of War, where each unit had its own background and a great deal of character to be able to put into the build for the units themselves. Now, build projects are what you make of them, and the complexity and size is defined by your willingness to press on with the challenges you may have to come across. So to kitbash an entire army for a 2,000 point game is going to take a little bit of endeavour and a labour of love, but at 500 points it's far more doable. So what criteria am I setting for myself? Well, quite simply, the miniatures used on the tabletop have to include some level of kitbashing or conversion, and as much as possible sell the narrative of the unit as depicted in the pages of the old Dogs of War supplement source book. In this video, which will be the first of these Dogs of War builds, we're going to be looking at more of the foot troops and the rank and file troops. where the second video we're going to look at one of the character builds and also maybe have a report and feedback on the event itself. So for this, let's travel to the Tylea Sea and see which units are up for the action. The first of our rank units is to be the Conquistador Look of Palazzo's Lost Legion. Like we did in the previous episode, the two main kits we are going to make use of here are the Imperial Nobles Blood Bowl team and the Cities of Sigmar Steel Helms. The good thing about these kits, as they are both relatively new, and overall the scale between the two is very close. Plus the mould lines have been considered during the design of the sprue, so it's only really the leftover little flash at the attachment point to the sprue that needs cleaning. Now, there are a number of ways you can obviously achieve this, using a hobby knife to scrape away the excess, but we mind the lower legs needed to be fitted to the middle of the torso, so I'm going to remove the nubs using a file instead. This not only removes the nub itself, but also we're going to use it to rough up and key slightly larger area that can then be used for adhesion of the parts to each other. Now, the Blood Bowl kit is mainly used to get that ruffled clothing that is predominantly used in Empire forces. So it's choosing what look and stance we want to go for, then fixing the needed parts together with our old friend the sprue goo. Now, the joys of using the sprue goo is that it's very close to the final attachment consistency and gives us a very usable joint, so we can fettle and adjust to get the stance quite right before the glue goes off. A lot of the times I like to test the stance of my models, and if the model has big enough feet and the model can stand on its own on the table, I can then say to myself that it seems like a natural stance. So whilst the bottom section is curing, we attack the Steel Helms kit for the upper torso. Now, we've obviously been using this kit quite a lot, and we have come down to basically the end remnants of parts we can use. But there's always an option, and because we have been using this kit a lot, there is a great deal of similarity within the unit. So giving a little bit of a uniform feel that we need to sell the unit makeup. So with a cut taken at each part's waist, above and below the belt line respectively, it's again an easy enough job just to get this model together, and we can start to see what the end model will and can, the end model will look like, and can make any adjustments we would like at this stage. Next is arms. So it's back to the first Blood Bowl kit, and one complete arm with those awesome ruffles that with a look cutting and shaving with the hobby knife, we can get it to make it to sit in a position we like. Again, this comes from the benefit of this sprue goo, and it gives us a bond that's pliable for a period of adjustment time, and also it's a great gap filler that can easily be blended at the joint by using a pass of sprue goo followed by a passing over a coat of untainted glue that we used to make the sprue goo in the first place. The second arm is an amalgamation of a couple of parts to get us to an at-ease weapon position that's going to help when ranking up this model. And it's only a couple of cuts, and again using the drying time of the glue to get up to our advantage, and always try the model in the standing position or the final position it's going to take on the base. And this way you can make sure everything can work together and nothing is going to be sticking out somewhere it shouldn't and going to cause problems when we base these guys together. Now the final major part is the head. Now there are a number of places where we can get Conquistador looking heads, Wargames Atlantic, Anvil Industries, but I first found this head option through Puppets War, so I've decided to stick with the same head consistently through, as it's mainly this part that gives the total uniform unit feel to the entire unit. Our finished modelling. Now there have been extra accent parts added, such as belt orders, mainly to hide gaps between the models, as I'm a great component with you don't have to fill anything or do any kind of modelling if you can hide it with an additional part. But then we get the paint on and he's ready to join the ranks with these more Mediterranean colours that I've selected for this unit. Now this project has been on the go for a while, so as such many plans have been made and different options tried out. So our first attempt we did for the unit was to use older GW kits from the Empire, such as the Great Swords. From that, however, I wanted more ruffles. Can you tell I'm addicted to ruffles yet? And in the clothing, so I decided to look at various third-party printers. And because I don't own a 3D printer myself, I bought some printed Great Swords as well. I really think, however, that since I have tried by using the combination of the kits between the Blood Bowl kits and the Steel Helms, and the bits I've shown off in this showcase, this is where I've been most happy with the outcome of the models themselves, and think that if I do any more, that I will go forward with this type of build to expand out the unit. There has also been that between the different models, you can see there is a slight change in scale between the different sets. And it's quite fun to give another level of aesthetic to the unit that I didn't start out wanting to create, but it's nice to see some differences in stature between the models. So Parazzo's Lost Legion of Spearmen is done and ready for the table. Now, these are going to be accompanied by one of the character models for the army, and the character models that inspired the start of this project being taken from one of the pages from in the Dogs of War book. And hopefully this unit is going to act as my main unit of rank and file troops, and we'll see how they go on the table. So what else are we going to rank up? Well, along with spears, it's always good to have a bit of range. Now, within the Dogs of War, there are a few choices we can make, and many are crossbow units. So we could either go with the Besiegers, or what is going to be my choice, the Marksman of Miragliano. Now, these guys have followed the same idea build as the Lost Legion, and it's really just a different weapon option, and they changed to the headgear. That's the only real main change between this model and the other guys in the Lost Legion. It gives them again that unique look that when accompanied by the paintwork that I'm going for, these guys now going for a more azure blue, and it just gives that unit quite unique look. So that's the first couple of parts for my 500-point force, all ready to invade Nottingham. Again, if you'd like the way we've done this, please like and subscribe, and if you've enjoyed the video, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Next time, like we said earlier, we'll be looking at the other character we will be adding to this army, and also introducing some of the more shock type troops that we're going to be using. And just maybe we'll be able to give you a little report as to how the day in Nottingham went, and playing our first organised event for Warhammer the Old World. Either way, make sure you check out the TSN Arena in there as our host, and because they have a number of different days based on a number of different game mechanics. So hopefully there'll be something there that will take your interest and something that you can get involved with. Again, I'll leave all the links down at the bottom, and hopefully you can check them out. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you all again on the next episode of From Dungeons to Starships.